It is now 6:52 on May 22nd, and we would like to begin our DEI meeting. On our agenda tonight is to discuss the district DEI goals and review our request for proposals for the DEI audit. Number 2, update on DEI initiatives regarding professional development. And number 3, district action plan and future planning. And I will give the floor over to Dr. Irvin.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Johnson. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the RFP. I have been in communication with an individual from the University of Pittsburgh who has submitted a draft proposal. Because our request is pretty complex, they felt that it would be best if we had a couple of conversations about that. So we actually chatted twice in the past couple of weeks. And then on Thursday, I think, Thursday she sent a draft, but she really wanted me to look that over before we presented that to anybody else. So with a lot of things going on, I have not had a chance to peruse that yet, but I will go over that carefully, and then I'm going to give her some additional feedback in terms of whether or not we believe that it's targeting what the board wants. And then when they feel comfortable taking the draft off, and they have a couple of other things that they want to add on their end as well, then I wanted to talk to you all about how we wanted to proceed with that. So what we would like to do is, if you read it over and find it to be something you want to learn more about, I'm suggesting that we would bring them in June to the DEI committee meeting, or if you want, to the regular board. So first of all, say in about a week, I would have this maybe in time for next Thursday's packet. We would have this draft ready to share with you. Do you want it to go in the packet to all 9 board members, or would you like the DEI committee to take a look at it first?
I don't know. I was trying to go the other way.
No, I don't either. I think that's fine if it goes to all of us.
Okay, yeah, more eyes, the better, right?
Right,
So,
I think that's good.
okay, so then
More
we,
students.
yeah, because that was the other thing. I mean, I did put a little notice about this in Thursday's update, that it would be forthcoming. So we will provide the copy. And again, it will still consider it a draft, but this still has some spots that are incomplete as the team is looking for some other things that they wanted to add in terms of background information and that. So what we'll do is, when we have the final draft, we'll put that in the board update for everybody to peruse. And then, and we don't have to decide tonight if you want to talk to Mr. Weiland about it, but the individuals are interested in, would be interested in presenting. So we could, again, have them come here. I think it's one of the reasons why we thought originally 45 minutes might be more useful, to give them time to maybe do an overview and then time for questions. But we could do that, it's the same night. So I had already given her the date. I think it's June 19th would be would be the voting meeting, but we typically meet before the voting meeting, or we could talk about, and I can reach out to her and see if they wanted to come to the discussion. If you want to have a conversation about that with Mr. Weiland
I'll ask her.
and Dr. Steinhauer, how they'd like to proceed, or we could do it here. But then we'd have to wait till, we don't meet in July, so then we wouldn't be able to take any action on it until, we'd either have to amend the agenda to add it as an action item.
Okay.
So it's a little more complicated.
Right.
But I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. I did talk to one other individual from a Pittsburgh-based organization who was going to send something, but again, the level of complexity in terms of what we're looking for, and the need to go back and forth with dialogue, if I get something from them, we certainly can include that as well, but I haven't heard anything back from that.
So right now it's just the one?
Okay.
Yeah, and I have something in hand. I mean, I'm looking at it right now that there is a draft, whereas I only had a conversation with another individual. So, I mean, again, we would certainly want to look at that if it's possible,
Yeah.
if it's available. But I also know that there is a sense of urgency around this. When I spoke to this individual, one of the things that I said is, we would probably like for them to get started even possibly in the summer, early fall, do a lot of the data collection around the curriculum pieces, particularly during the school year, and then by the end of next year have some solid recommendations to make for going forward. So,
Okay.
all righty?
Great.
So that's my update on number 1, DEI goals, request for the audit.
Dr. Evans, so is there a plan for who they would work with come July 1?
Right, once you,
Yeah, so we could talk about that in future planning, how about that?
yeah, that's what I was hoping we would do.
But yes. So I have some things to fill you in about that too. I am really sort of excited to talk about number 2 though, which is update on DEI initiatives, professional development, because I do want to take a moment to talk about the amazing day that we had on September 16th. September 16th was our DEI K-12 in-service day. And how we had it arranged was we had, I forget, we had 36 sessions. We had we had 3 breakout periods. And in each breakout period, there were 12 workshops that folks could choose from. Many of the options were repeated multiple times, so that people, depending on what they were truly interested in seeing. And then the last breakout session at the end, we mixed the teachers up. So we actually put them together alphabetically. So that meant we had high school, elementary, middle, science teachers, music teachers, whoever. And we had a PowerPoint that I had put together, and we had folks leading the breakout sessions, Ms. Ross, Dr. Davis, myself, the principals had all led them. And they really were on questions on reflecting on how the day went. What was some of the most powerful things you heard? What were the most challenging things you heard? And then we talked through some scenarios. All of the feedback about the in-service day was so positive. I legit had people that I didn't really know, secondary teachers that I don't know, were all coming from seeking me out at the end of the day to tell me how amazing that they thought it was. In addition, when we started off in the morning, we started off all together to sort of set the stage. Why are we here? What is the purpose of this day? And we had, I think, about 10 to 12 students, high school students, who joined us for that. When I was at the podium, they stood behind me sort of as a solidarity. And then 3 of the students chose to speak to the teachers about their own personal experiences as being a student from a marginalized group, or a group that has experienced discrimination or identity-based harassment. So that was so super powerful. I think really set the stage. And for that student group, then we also allowed them, for the first session, we allowed them to pick from the workshops. So they were in a couple of different options. And then we also had the Light Initiative come and present for them at the second workshop time period. And then when we broke for lunch, we fed them all pizza and cookies and then said, go and enjoy the rest of your day off. I want to talk a little bit about the sessions that were offered. So we had everything from things around specific to identity, and that in ELA and in social studies. We had a couple. We had Whose Story. We had a workshop on asking questions to help students, lead their own learning. We had purposeful power pedagogy in elementary social studies as well. We had organizations representing LGBTQ from PSAD and PFLAG, and they all talked. One was PFLAG was specifically on supporting students and families with LGBTQ. We also had some learning opportunities around SOGI, which is sexual orientation and gender identity and expression. So really helping folks understand, what the meaning is. We talked about safe and impact, like safe learning environments for all students. We had identity-based harassment and understanding difference from the ADL. We did a follow-up to the race workshop that we had offered during the fall and spring, a session on Black history in Mount Lebanon, taught by one of our own teachers. Let me see what else we have. An ableism that Ms. Webb, our principal at Washington, did. That was amazing, honestly. I couldn't get to all of them. I was like popping in and out, but unfortunately, because she had another training in the morning, she could only offer that once, but people are already saying like that was so good. It was about language, especially, that we use when we talk about students who learn differently. Let's see. And because we've had this partnership with Light, we had Nick Haberman from the Light Initiative talk about, this was, I thought, a really good topic and very popular, inspiring and preparing the next generation of humanitarians. We had culturally affirming relationship building in schools, seeing ourselves and each other, reflecting in empathy and around our identities. So just a lot of really amazing choices. So teachers could direct their own learning. They could really think about, like, if they are, one of our staff members is like, I'm not even sure what LGBTQ stands for, there's a session for you. But if you're also saying, like, I'm ready to take this to the next level and think about how I can take this information and work on it with students, there was that. So really a great day. Our only downer was we didn't have as many staff there as we would have liked. But I was able to touch base with all of our speakers. We all ate together too, which was nice. So they ate with the students and all of the speakers, and they all want to continue partnering with the district. The culturally affirming relationship building is actually, that speaker is somebody new that we learned about through Teach Plus, which Ms. Ross leads, but he's here local in Pittsburgh, whereas the folks from Teach Plus that we generally work with are Philly, Boston, kind of all over, but he's right here in Pittsburgh and did a great job in that particular workshop. It was very inspiring. So just was an amazing day.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep.
You said September 16th, is that?
You meant May.
May.
You meant May.
May, okay.
I thought so.
I'm like, I don't know, I'm
Yeah.
dyslexic about what day it is. So, but I do think that we are going to want to capitalize on these relationships that we've built and look at ways we can continue to bring these folks in to help support learning. And also, how we can hit the people that we missed. I'm hoping that they're all feeling bad, although it was a beautiful day, but I think they might be feeling bad that, this was the day they chose to use comp time, so.
So could I ask approximately how many people did it?
I think we had close to 200 all in. We did have some folks that left early, like they came for the morning sessions. We won't have quite that many evaluations because that's an Act 48 requirement, and a lot of our teachers don't need that, so they'll come, but they don't necessarily fill out the eval. And we did a different eval for this as well, because I asked them to choose which session they were in, and then, feedback on that particular session, so I could look at it easily, like in a clump, and that's where I just going through it, I haven't printed it all out yet, but the initial dive and looking at each of the sessions, all of the evaluations were very positive.
Great.
Teachers seemed to, really respond to it, so it was very rewarding. My last in-service planning ever.
Very well done. Very well done.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Then number 3, district action planning, future planning. And I see Dr. Freeze is in the audience. So I will say that in the meeting that she talks about, I think in her report to the board that we met, we are planning to meet to talk specifically about DEI, just to really hone in on that initiative. I can show her and share with her all the action plans that we've had. We've developed kind of what boxes we've checked off, where we are in the process. And then, I think she's going to want to decide then, who she wants to lead that moving forward.
Great.
But I will make sure, I told her, I will make sure I turn over everything, put it all in a shared drive so that anybody who needs it can access it. And, again, even like this new list, the emails and contacts for the number of different folks that we've met through planning the in-service. So it's definitely going to be something, we know that it continues to be a focus of the board, and I want to make sure that I leave it in good hands and in a good organized way so that whoever takes over the reins is going to be able to jump right in and find everything that they need. And if they want to reach out and ask questions, I'm fine with that too, since I'm sticking around.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So with that, we've gone through the agenda. Do we have any questions or comments from residents? Just none?
I want to make a comment.
Yeah?
I don't
No, yes, you are.
I don't know if this mic is on, but I just
You're
wanted to make a brief comment because we haven't really done an update on what's going on with Teach Plus. But I wanted to note that our partnership with Teach Plus has been really fruitful, very positive. Not only do we have connections with workshops and things that they're hosting in the area, that we had a presenter come for our in-service day, but we have 2 current teachers who are part of their policy fellowship, which is ending this year, so Val Brown and Dawn Davenport. But from that relationship, other teachers, I've told, I can't officially say, are finalists for the next cohort. So our teachers are actually by word of mouth participating in this, and it's teacher advocacy. Those that aren't aware, Teach Plus's mission is really to bring more teachers of color to the region and working with recruitment and retention efforts. So our teachers have really stepped up and become involved with Teach Plus on their own. And I'm hopeful to see in the years to come that every cohort of their fellows maybe has a Mount Lebanon teacher. But I'm very excited that we didn't, say anything to these teachers about doing this fellowship, that they just continued that on their own. So I'm really proud of that work we've been doing. So I wanted to note that.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, so with that, we are at the end of our time, if we have no further questions or comments. And our next meeting, we don't have a time yet, but it should be June 19th. And we look forward to seeing everyone there. Thank you.